Hello viewers, I'm your host Uzma Jafri with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show with the gigantic Malabar naval exercise, which is jointly being conducted in the Bay of Bengal by three major powers of the world: India, Japan and the United States, with most sophisticated of the heavy weaponry, aircraft carriers and submarines.
World's largest aircraft carrier USS Nimitz of the US Navy, INS Vikramaditya of the Indian Navy and the JS Izumo of the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force participated in the 21st edition of the Malabar exercise. Malabar, which began as a bilateral sea exercise between India and US in 1992, became a trilateral engagement after the formal inclusion of Japan in 2015. The main aim of the exercise is to address the shared threats to maritime security in the Indo-Asia-Pacific region. The scope of Malabar 2017 included wide-ranging professional interactions during the harbour phase at Chennai from 10 to 13 July 2017, where the naval representatives from all three countries emphasized on the prominence of the exercise.
Over the years, Exercise Malabar has contributed to substantially improving interoperability and sharing of best practices among the three navies, as also growing cooperation and mutual confidence between all three of us.
Japan, which has been vehemently stating its concerns over the South China Sea on account of increasing Chinese activities, has been seeking international support for the safety of its maritime boundaries.
We hope to play a leading role to improve and stabilize our global commons and ensure maritime security. To that end, the JMSDF will strive to further deepen the Japan-India-US maritime partnership through the Malabar exercise. We have two of our ships participating in this exercise. It is the first major multilateral exercise for our newly commissioned Izumo-class destroyers. We recognize that it is a unique opportunity to conduct high-end maritime exercise and enhance our operational capability in the Indian Ocean.
US Rear Admiral believes that the exercise is not only going to further improve the trilateral relations strategically, but also at the personal level.
And it is awesome to look out and see our dedicated men and women standing side by side and the ships moored at the piers side by side as well, not only to strengthen the professional relationships, but in my opinion, more importantly, the personal relationships between our three nations and navies. The Indo-Asia-Pacific region is a critical region that requires those enduring relationships, and I'm proud to now be among them.
These warships and submarines of all three countries sailed out of Chennai harbour for the sea phase of the exercise at an undisclosed location in the Bay of Bengal. The sea phase will comprise a diverse range of operational activities where a warlike situation will be emulated. Air defence, surface warfare, visit boat search and seizure, VBSS, search and rescue, joint maneuvers and tactical procedures are a part of the war game.
India has reached out to USA and Japan at numerous fronts, whether it's combating terrorism, boosting trade or enhancing exchange of technology amongst themselves. We are now joined by retired Commodore Anil Jaisingh, who carries an extensive knowledge on the Indian maritime strategies. Mr. Anil, what according to you is the strategic significance of the Malabar exercise to India and two other countries participating in it?
Countries like ours, which have a like-minded approach to international relations, we believe in a rules-based international order. In that respect, I think it's important that we all come together, we understand each other better, we operate better together, and we are able to combat any threats to the high seas are called global commons. So any threat to the global commons which is going to affect the movement of trade across the world and affect the whole world in general, countries, like-minded countries must come together and operate together. So from that point of view, Malabar is strategically important. It promotes interoperability between navies. We understand how each navy works. We understand how to work with them in a different kind of a scenario.
China has expressed its reservations over the exercise. Do you think this regular drill, which has been there for 2.5 decades, pose any threat to China?
No, it does not pose any threat to China. As far as China expressing reservations, anything anybody does in the world, China seems to have a problem with it. And China seems to think that everything the world is doing is anti-China, not realizing that China really is not important to us in this exercise. This exercise has a much larger strategic aim. Yes, if tomorrow China tries to be belligerent in the Indian Ocean, tries to be belligerent in the South China Sea, certainly these are the navies that are going to address it and not let China do what it pleases in international waters. Particularly, this is, as far as India is concerned, this is particularly true of the Indian Ocean. You are aware that China has just opened a new base in Djibouti. It has a base in Gwadar. It is planning to equip those bases with ships and manpower, which means that it is going to be a permanent presence in the Indian Ocean. If China is a permanent presence in the Indian Ocean, it is a matter of concern for us, and it is something we must monitor closely.
Thank you, Commodore Anil Jaisingh. Moving on, now we talk about Balochistan, the Pakistan's largest province where the people are facing massive human rights abuses. The Baloch diaspora living in Germany and other parts of Europe gathered in Hamburg to protest against Pakistan and China for exploiting their resources and carrying out atrocities on their people. We have a report.
Shouting slogans to show their resentment and dissatisfaction. Baloch activists from parts of Germany and other European countries gathered in Hamburg to protest against China's move to build a multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan Economic Corridor in their territory. They claimed the so-called CPEC has brought more death and destruction for the local people instead of economic opportunities and prosperity.
Baloch people are protesting due to so-called CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is bringing and which already brought lots of human rights abuses and restriction in Baloch areas, and Pakistan along China looting and exploiting the resource of Baloch people.
Rights violation in Balochistan. Stop women rights violation in Balochistan.
The Baloch took an opportunity to organize the protest during the G20 summit to make the world aware of economic exploitation and human rights violations in Balochistan province. They also blamed Pakistani army for carrying out military operations and forced disappearances, extrajudicial executions and killings in the region.
China is a member of the group of 20 and second largest economy of the world. But in pursuit of its economic goals, China has been playing a very negative role in the region.
According to Baloch Human Rights Organization, over 3,000 families have been displaced to make way for the CPEC in Balochistan. The Human Rights Organization has also claimed that a total of 607 people have been killed in Balochistan in 2016 due to their opposition to the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The CPEC is the flagship project of China's One Belt, One Road and is also the first one being implemented on the ground. China has been bringing in more and more Chinese workers, including security personnel, to work on the project, thereby raising the threat of possible Chinese economic and political domination among the locals. With the Pakistani government already carrying out a systematic ethnic cleansing in Balochistan, the economic and social hardships caused by the implementation of the CPEC projects is expected to cause further suffering for the local Baloch. The Pakistani government is also failing to address similar apprehensions elsewhere in Pakistan.
Pakistan's experience with CPEC and opposition to it within the country should serve as a useful indicator to other countries in Europe on what to expect when OBOR comes knocking on their door. We are now joined by Claudia Heidelberg, a German lawyer and human rights activist. Ms. Claudia, the Baloch and other citizens in Pakistan are opposing the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. As a European expert, what are your views about China's One Belt, One Road initiative?
Europeans must fear the new Silk Roads. They are not on the level from eye to eye. And Mrs. Merkel and UK and also France made the mistake to found this bank in China to finance these projects. And now my government, also the foreign minister, I know, they get aware that it was a mistake, that only the imperialism of China is given a chance, and it will be not a free trade between Europe and China, because China is already trying to buy our key industries, and it's a back threat also for Europe. And if Europe, yes, is also addressed, then it is also in their interest to act for Balochistan, for the whole region there. And this could be a chance, and we are working with our NGO on it to address it, to highlight it, and we hope in future we will have some success.
What would be the implications of CPEC project in Pakistan?
Yes, it will create much unrest. As we see in the Pashtun areas now, a big genocide, the Pak army has this, to guarantee the security. They sent their forces to put down the villages, to abduct people, and we have seen in the last weeks it increases in Darabukti in many parts there, and there will be, I think, more unrest, more injustice, and this will increase because of CPEC.
Thank you, Ms. Claudia, for sharing your thoughts. Moving on to Afghanistan, a war-ravaged nation where normal life has been devastated by the constant attacks by Taliban, emerges a tale of hope and survival of many soldiers who lost their limbs in the battlefield while fighting enemy. A national team is set to fly all the way to Canada to participate in the Invictus Games this year. We bring you the story.
These wheelchair-bound Afghan army soldiers who lost their legs due to landmines are practicing hard at an Afghan military base on the outskirts of the capital Kabul to compete in the Invictus Games scheduled to be held in Canada this September. Out of dozens of wounded Afghan military personnel, only 7 have been selected to compete in an international Paralympic-style event along with service members from 17 different countries. It is the largest team Afghanistan has ever sent to the Games.
احساس بسیار خوشی میکنم و دیگه خود با اونجا بریم قید دوستای خود با اونجا فهمیدیم از کانادا مثالش مسابقه را برده بیاییم نام افغانستان را در سطح جهان بلند کنیم نام وطن خود بلند کنیم.
The Invictus, which means unconquered in Latin, symbolizes the way that sports can help wounded soldiers overcome trauma suffered in combat. Britain's Prince Harry, who served in Afghanistan twice, created the Games 3 years ago to celebrate the sacrifices and spirit of warriors injured in war. The event previously has been held in London and Florida. The coach of the team has strong belief in his team. 27-year-old Nasir Ahmed, who lost his legs after stepping on an IED in Helmand in 2015, has never bogged down by the challenges thrown at him by life.
ما هیچ وقت مایوسات به نظر خود نآوردیم هیچ وقت نخواستیم خود مایوس بسازم ما میتوانم مایوب هر کاری میتونم معلول هر کاری میتونم معلول نه هم والیبال میکنم دیگه ورزش‌های بسکتبال هم میکنم دیگه هم ورزشی که باشم پیش میبرم دیگه هم کار میکنم نمیخوام که ما مورال خود از داده باشم.
Last year, Afghanistan's security forces suffered nearly 7,000 deaths and more than 10,000 wounded, fighting Taliban and other insurgent groups in Afghanistan.
The situation has constantly been deteriorating, but these stories of courage and resilience in Afghanistan not only motivate the fellow troops, but are inspiration for the youth which has been affected dearly by the resurgent Taliban. Moving on to Nepal. The political situation in Nepal has taken new turns with divergent views floating in the political atmosphere. while the ruling coalition has shown a keen interest in amending the constitution to bring the Madhesh-based parties on board, the opposition CPM-UML has yet again denied extending support.
A meeting of three major political parties called by Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba at his official residence at Baluwatar aimed at bringing the disgruntled Rashtriya Janata Party, Nepal, on board for the third phase of local body elections failed to forge consensus over the issue of constitution amendment. The opposition CPM-UML maintained its position on some issues of the amendment proposal, including the redrawing of provincial boundaries, arguing that the amendment would not be in nation's interest. Former Prime Minister and CPN Maoist Centre Chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal, however, came up with a proposal during the meeting. Three major parties, Nepali Congress, CPN-UML and CPN-MC Maoist Centre, jointly amend the constitution and forge a package agreement with RJPN on other issues. Take the amendment bill for floor test to resolve it once and for all, and in doing so, seek commitment from RJPN to participate in the third phase polls. Keep the current numbers of local units as it is before the elections and forge a political consensus with RJPN to change the local body's number after the elections. People of Nepal believe, however, parties should refrain from politicizing the issue of amendment and should work together in the interest of the common citizens of the country.
यो 2 दशक पछि भएको जुन स्थानीय निकायको निर्वाचन छ यो निर्वाचनसँगै सबै दलहरू मिलेर कसरी संविधान कार्यान्वयन गर्ने र समृद्ध नेपाल निर्माणका लागि एक ढिक्का भएर अगाडि बढ्ने भन्ने सन्दर्भमा जुन हिसाबले केन्द्रित हुनुपर्थ्यो दलहरूको अहिलेको जुन यो खिचतानी राजनीतिक संवाद राम्रोसँग हुन नसकेको अवस्थाले चाहिँ अझै पनि राजनीतिक अन्योलता झनै बढ्ने खालको स्थिति देखिएको छ। यसतर्फ चाहिँ दलहरू बेलैमा सचेत भएर नागरिकको जुन इच्छा छ आकांक्षा छ त्यसलाई सम्बोधन गर्ने हिसाबले अगाडि बढ्न सक्यो भने अझ राम्रो हुन्छ र देशले एक प्रकारको विकासको बाटो समात्छ भन्ने लाग्छ।
Rashtriya Janata Party is in a fix and has been mulling over the decision of participating in the elections. The party has been protesting against the government for not making an amendment to the constitution and did not participate in the first phase of local body elections on May 14 and boycotted the second phase held on 28 June. The Constitution of Nepal 2015 has a mandatory provision of holding the elections of the State Council, National Assembly and House of Representatives by January 2018.
Now it remains to be seen which route RJPN is going to follow, as there are already news of a divide within the party regarding the participation in the elections. We are now joined by Mr. Suraj Kumar, a political analyst who has been closely observing the latest developments in the Nepal politics. Mr. Kumar, apparently the parties have difference of opinion regarding the amendment. What circumstances do you see in the coming days?
Well, we certainly hope that there will be some sort of agreement between the major political parties, because we've been talking about this amendment since the day the constitution was promulgated. So hopefully, I think the political parties have done some homework in the last, at least in the last few months, and hopefully there will be some sort of resolution before the third phase of the elections. Because talking to the senior political leaders from the major political parties, there aren't that many differences between the parties. So I think it's time. It's about the time and the commitment of these leadership to really sit down and flush out the details and go ahead with the amendment.
What all options do you think Prime Minister has at his disposal to resolve the issue of Madhesis?
Well, we've been hearing different things from different leaders lately. The Prime Minister has been saying that regardless of the constitution amendment, the Madhesh-based parties will participate in the third phase of the local polls. And we have also been seeing that UML and Madhesh-based parties have been, they are having conversations behind the doors, which is a good thing, because they were not talking to each other for a very long time. So this is really a good start. So all the signals point to a positive direction, and we definitely hope that the Madhesh-based parties, regardless of whatever happens with the constitution, will go to the polls. And our view is that the amendment has to be put on the table in the parliament, and they can go for vote, and whatever happens, whether it passes or fails, everyone has to agree and accept to that result and then go to the polls. So I think there is some positive sign if you're looking at the political conversation happening in the city. So I am very hopeful that this will be resolved before or after the third phase of the local elections.
Thank you, Mr. Ghimere. Moving on to India, in an unprecedented development, Ahmadabad in the country's western Gujarat state has been declared as World Heritage City by the UNESCO. The announcement was followed by jubilations across the country as Ahmedabad becomes the first Indian city to have fallen in such category. Take a look.
Ahmedabad, a city located on the banks of river Sabarmati, has made its way to international recognition and found itself being spotted as one of the cities to feature in the UNESCO's World Heritage City. The 600-year-old city now stands alongside Paris, Vienna, Cairo, Brussels, Rome and Edinburgh on the World Heritage map after the UNESCO's World Heritage Committee's decision in the Polish city Krakow. The old buildings of the city and the carvings on them highlight the connection of the people with art, culture and craft. Residents of Ahmedabad city felt proud and hailed the decision of UNESCO.
कि हिंदुस्तान के मुख्तलिफ शहरों में अलग अलग मॉन्यूमेंट्स हैं, मगर अहमदाबाद के मॉन्यूमेंट्स में जो नज़ाकत है, कलात्मकता है, कंपोजिट कल्चर की बात है और जो खूबसूरती है, इसी वजह से ये अलग दिखते हैं.
The city of Ahmedabad was founded by Ahmad Khan of the Muzaffarid dynasty in the 15th century. The city has also been an epitome of peace as people from Hindu, Muslim and Jain communities have coexisted here for centuries. The famous Jami Masjid, a mosque built in 1424 during the reign of Ahmad Shah I. The architectural design of the mosque is unique as it has entrance from 3 directions. The design of the mosque is a blend of Hindu and Muslim styling. The Swaminarayan temple in the city is another holy spot for the Hindus. The temple is known for having 2 gadis for Nar Narayan Devi and Lakshmi Narayan Dev Gadi. The temple has also set up examples of communal harmony in the past as well. Apart from rich architecture and tradition, the city is also famous for being the home of Mahatma Gandhi, who led the country to independence from his Sabarmati ashram. The famous Satyagraha and the Dandi March was carried out from this ashram.
गांधी जी आए 1920 में, उन्होंने पहले कोचरब और बाद में साबरमती आश्रम की रचना की. साबरमती आश्रम से वो दांडी कूच, ऐतिहासिक दांडी कूच, दांडी यात्रा बनी. ये सब ऐतिहासिक बातें हैं. अहमदाबाद में सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल प्रथम नगरपति बने और उन्होंने काफ़ी काम किया. ऐसी बहुत सी घटनाएं और व्यक्ति और स्थान ये सभी है कि अहमदाबाद एक श्रेष्ठ विरासत के रूप में केवल हिंदुस्तान नहीं पूरी दुनिया में प्रतिष्ठित हो सकता है.
In 2010, Ahmedabad was ranked 3rd in the Forbes magazine for the fastest growing city. After which a proposal was sent by the then Chief Minister of Gujarat and the current Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, to UNESCO to recognize the city. Apart from all the famous monuments and heritage sites, Ahmedabad is known for its colorfulness and vibrant culture. People of Ahmedabad are known for celebrating festivals in a grand manner, whether it's the Kite Festival called Uttarayan or the 9 nights of Navratri, where the locals perform Garba, a popular folk dance of Gujarat.
After having a long list of world-famous heritage sites, India has added yet another feather to its cap, which she would wear with pride and honor. On that note, we come to the end of this week's episode of South Asia Focus. Goodbye and take care.